access to quality. Mr. Chair.
Jan Logie.
Mr. Chair. And I'd like to follow on a little bit from that speech, really, and looking at that commitment to getting people into work and what we consider work. And I would like to just remind the House of an ex-National Party Member of Parliament, Marilyn Waring, and a book she wrote in 1999 called Counting for Nothing, which looks at how we value work and also how we look at setting up our government accounts. And I'd just like to read a quote from Marilyn, just saying, you know, purchasing domestic services for a household is productive. Doing them yourself is not. It's so ironic. No, it's not. It's sick, she said. If a man marries his housekeeper, the GDP goes down. I think it's worth noting in the context of parenting, in the context of running a home, that parents on the DPB are working. They are working. If they get, and we've created this, and I had this feedback directly from some young people who were in relationships and had children, who were very conscious that they were being disincentivized from co-parenting by our current system. That the way our system is set up, they are better off being on the DPB than they are on the unemployment benefit and co-parenting. That's pretty bizarre, and that is a factor in this reform. I think we should, as a country, think about really just going back to some of those basics about the things we value. And I think parenting is something that we should value and that we should actually put the money behind it. To say that, you know, paid work is everything, I think, you know, really we just need to review that a little bit. I'd also just like to just take a little bit of a, you know, add my voice to the critique of the idea about how many jobs are available and anyone can get a job if they want. You know, and to give an example from Christchurch, that earlier this year the Canterbury DHB had 345 jobs, I think, going, that they advertised, and they had 6,500 applications for those jobs. And when I asked how many of those people that got those jobs had come off benefits, I was told that one person had been referred by Work and Income to those jobs and wasn't suitable. They didn't have the qualifications. So I think that's a pretty clear example of how those figures of throwing out that there are jobs available actually hides the complexity of the situation. That for some people there are not jobs available, and particularly not jobs that support them to be good parents as well as be in employment. And I think for us as a country and the future welfare of our entire country, the priority should be looking after your children rather than getting paid work. I think if you can do both, fantastic. That's a really, really good thing. You don't need obligations to do that. People that are able to do that and choose to do that of their own volition. Because actually, most people want to work, either in an unpaid capacity that has meaning and is valued, or in a paid work. You know? Well, obligations are not necessary to support that. We see people transition into paid work when they're ready. We've also been told by the department when we look at childcare that having standards around childcare would be patronising because actually, you know, parents should be able to choose. And yet, if they're choosing to stay at home and parent their children, that choice doesn't count. Now, where's the irony in that? It does not make sense. It's inconsistent. And I would just like to also speak to the financial veto on my supplementary order paper to reinstate the training incentive allowance. $5 to $15 million we're being told it would cost. Mr.
Todd
Chair.
McLean.
Chair, I move that the question be
I call Dr. Regime Prasad.
It's interesting listening